Okay, hi everyone, welcome. So I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. We had a pretty good term. We're just doing some statistics, so it's going to be a nice sort of cruisy end to term, end of year. Okay, so what we're going to do, open up to your notebooks there. We're on statistics, and I'll just talk about what we're going to be working through a bit today. So on sector, maybe you've had a look at the plan there. You see we're moving reasonably quickly through it. The reason being we've done a lot of this stuff before. So definitely I hope by the end of the week to have done chapter 11. And in chapter 11 there's 11A, there's 11B.1, B.2, B.3, which we'll do today. 11C and 11D. But if you look at the checklist there, you're sort of only doing one or two questions from each. Okay, so it's not an outrageous amount of work, and it is easy maths as well. You should find that you breeze through it pretty quickly. So we're starting with today, if we look at 11A, we're talking about the difference between discrete and continuous random variables. Discrete and continuous. So we have two types of variables when we're performing statistics, don't we? We have discrete, they are variables that you count. They take whole number values. So that might be the number of cows in a field, the number of tables in a classroom. Okay, something that you count. And then we have continuous variables, and they are things that you measure. Okay, so the length of hair, the height of a student. The reason these are continuous is because they occur on a spectrum. They don't take whole number values, they occur over an interval. Okay? So we have discrete, things we count, and things we measure. So that's what we're doing in 11A, is identifying the difference between them. And then in 11B, we're getting into some key statistical concepts. So let's flip the page there. So there's lots of dense information there, and we're going to be unpacking that over the next few lessons. But let's just get straight into our example. We have this data set, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7. Okay, so this is what we're doing today. Find the mean, median, mode, range, and interquartile range. Okay, so you should remember the top three, mean, median, mode. And then as far as the range, interquartile range goes, I'll unpack that a bit more too. Okay, the mean, we're just going to go through, add all the data set up, and then divide it by how many there are. There are 10 pieces of data. Okay, the median is going to be the one that lies in the middle. This one's often the most sort of tricky or precarious. And then the mode is just the one that occurs the most frequently. So if we look for a median, okay, so the middle of the data set is here, right? There's 5 pieces of data here and 5 pieces of data here. And they have to be written in ascending order, doesn't it, for us to find the median. And so what's halfway between 4 and 5? The median will be 4.5. Okay? If there are an odd number of pieces of data, then the median is just going to be that single data piece. Okay, so for example, if I add another data piece at the end here, let's say a 9, alright, then the middle data piece is this one. We're going to have 5 there and 5 there, and this would be the median. Okay? But in our circumstance, there was only 10 data pieces, so we take the average of the 2 middle ones. Okay, that's the middle, and so the average of them is 4.5. And then the mode, what's most frequently occurring? We can have multiple modes. We can see we've got 1 twice, we've got 5 twice, and we've got 6 twice. So the modes are 1, 5, and 6. Okay, let's show you how we can use our calculator to do it. So if you can pull your calculator out, what we're going to do is we go into the main menu, and we're going to go into statistics. And what I want to point out to you is we just have one data set. So I've got lots of stuff going on there. I'll try and clear everything. Okay, and so all we're going to do is put the data set in the first column there. So I'm just going to go 1, enter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7. And so I can see I've got 10 pieces of data. And even in here, you can get it to arrange it in ascending order and so forth. In statistics, and put the data set in there. Now we'll just wait a moment because I'm going to give a few more instructions about how we can bring up, make sure the settings are right. Okay, so when we have one data set, what we want to do is we want to press calc, okay, and we just want to check our settings, all right? Now, for when there's one data set, it should say list 1 and the frequency should be 1, okay? That's what it should say. One data set, it should be list 1 and frequency 1. So let's make a note of that. One data set, we should have, what's it? First var x list should be list 1. And frequency should just be the number 1. Okay, so if everyone's got that.
How do you get to that?
So you press calc and then I'm into settings. Oh yeah, set. Yep, that's it. Okay, so then what we'll do, we'll exit out of that just by pressing the exit button. And we're already in the calc mode. Okay, we've already pressed calc. All right, so if I press exit again, I can press calc again. So it's bringing up those options. We want the first variable. Okay, and so it's telling us the mean. All right, I'll go through what all of these things mean. The mean is 4, okay, and we represent the mean with x bar. I've got here the sum of x. That means it's the sum of all of the data pieces, okay, so when you add all of them up together, you get 40. We've got standard deviation, which we'll talk about next lesson. Let's go down a bit, you can scroll down. N tells you how many data pieces there are. We've got the minimum data piece. We've got the median there, 4.5, which we established. We've got Q1, Q3, and the max. And then there's the modes, 1, 5, and 6. Where it says mode n equals 3, that means we've got 3 modes. The 3 modes are 1, 5, and 6. So, I'll just talk about that then, those points there. What's the minimum? So the minimum is the lowest data value, the maximum is the highest, the median is the one that lies in the middle, and then Q1 is the median of the first half of the data. Okay, so if we just concentrate on the first half, what's the median here? This one is the one that lies in the middle of the first half, so that's Q1. And then Q3 is the data piece that lies in the middle of here, so that's going to be this one. And so so we have the minimum, Q1, the median, Q3, and the max. Okay, so that's all good. Now the other thing it asked us for was the range. Okay, so the range of the data set is equal to the max take the min. That's talking about the spread, how far does it go over? So that's going to be 7 take 1. So our range is 6. Alright, so all of the data occurs over an interval of 6 units. And then our interquartile range, or our IQR, interquartile range, is Q3 take Q1. Okay, and so that's going to be 6 take 2, which is 4. Alright? And the significance of that, of breaking it up like this, right, is that this is 25% of the data, this is 25% of the data, this is 25% of the data, and then this is another 25% of the data. So it helps you to see, we have 100% of the data occurring between 1 and 7. We have 50% of the data occurring between 2 and 6. All right, so that's sort of the middle 50%. And so that's the significance of it. And that's sort of all we're calculating today. Now we do have another problem, right? So that's when we just have one data set. But sometimes, any questions about that? Sometimes data can be represented as a table. So we will do problem 2 here, and then problem 3 we'll get to on next lesson. So problem 2 here, consider the sample below of the number of goals scored by a footballer over a season. So we've got this table of data pieces. Now can I rub this out? So I'm going to write that table up quickly. So we have goals and frequency. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 goals. 0 goals were kicked on 5 occasions. So pretty poor performance on 5 occasions. 6 times, he kicked 1 goal. 2 times, 2 goals, 4 times. 3 goals, 3 times. And 4 goals on 1 time. Okay. Part A says determine the skew of the data. So we have a couple of ways that data can be skewed. Firstly, we can have what's called positive skew, where most of the data is to the left of the distribution. Okay? We can have a normal distribution, okay, where the data is central, or we can have a negative skew, where it is to the right of the distribution. So just looking at our frequency here, we seem to have higher numbers on the left, and then they get smaller as they go along. If we were to draw a graph of this, right, it's going to look something like this. It would be 5, 6, and it would be 4, 3, 1. Okay? And so I'm saying, what's the skew of that? Which shape does that resemble? It's positive skew. Okay, so that's a word we describe when the data tends towards the left. Positive skew. That's our answer to part A. Okay, part B. Determine the mean, median, mode, interquartile range, and standard deviation. So we'll just do mean, median, mode, and interquartile range. So one way we could extrapolate this data set, right? We've kicked 0 goals on 5 occasions. Alright, so that means if we're going to write the whole data set out, we've got 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay? So we've got 5 zeros, and then we've got 6 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And then we've got 4 twos. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you could write the whole data set out like that. That would be one way to get the data set from this table. This table is a way that they've simplified that data set, isn't it? It's a simpler way of representing it. So you could do that, and then you could find the mean, median, and mode just from a long data set. Okay, so we could do that. But there's another way we can use our calculator. So let's go back to our menu here, back to our calculator, and let's put both columns in. So in the first column, I'm going to have goals. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and make sure you delete all the rest of the data. So they're the options of goals you can get, and then we've got 5, 6, 4, 3, 1. So I've just filled in both lists there. Okay, so I said we're going to need to be competent in changing our settings. So before we looked at when we just had data in one list, now we've got data in 2 lists. So let me show you what we need to do to the settings there. Let's go again. So how do we get to that? We press Calc and then Settings. And when we have data in 2 lists, it needs to say List 1 and then List 2. Okay, that's what it should look like. So record this down somewhere as well, so you know the difference between the 2. First var X list should be list 1. And then first var frequency, list 2. Okay? And so if you put those settings in, list 1, list 2, we're ignoring the bottom ones for now. Just making sure we're competent in understanding what the settings mean. Okay? Then I'm going to go again, I want to calculate that first variance. So where are we? We're in Calc, the first variable, sorry. And it's bringing up for me the mean, okay? The average amount of goals for this data set is 1.421. We'll round that to 3 figures, 1.42. So we've got the mean, n equals 19. What's the significance of that? Well, the footballer played 19 games, okay? So they kicked 0 goals 5 times, 1 goal 6 times, 6 goals 1 time, sorry. All right, we have our minimum, our median, our maximum there, and of course our mode. What's easy about this one is you can see the mode from the distribution here. He kicked 1 goal 6 times, so that's the mode. Okay, the mode is 1 goal. The median is 1. Okay, so we've got mean, median, mode, and then I think, what else did I ask for? Range and interquartile range. So the range is the max take the min, so that's going to be 4 take 0. The range is 4. And the interquartile range is Q3 take Q1, so that's going to be 2 take 0. Cool. And we will talk about standard deviation next lesson. So that's enough to get started. Hopefully there's some good calculator skills that you can use there. But today, just follow along with the checklist. So 11A, we're just doing a couple of questions there. One of them you get to have a chat about. 11B, hopefully we can make our way through most of 11B today. Ready for 11C and D tomorrow. Cool. Let's do it.